Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Hey, what do you say? Welcome to the Fan Cave. It's another night of your opinions as we talk sports with you. Things are cranking up, and that's always good news right here as we welcome you inside the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. And there's a lot of action on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Bob Pompeani and Drew Fillipponi, 93.7 The Fan, and his wildly popular Saturday national show, The Pony Express, joins me here. Andrew, let's get right into this. I want to start with Jeff Passan on ESPN. Says they're now going to install 7-inning doubleheaders to make up for a lot of what's gone on here. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, in a season of the ridiculous and the insane, with the runner starting at second base and extra innings, Bob, the universal DH, all kinds of changed rules. You only play the NL Central and the AL Central if you're the Pirates. I'm okay with this, and the reason why is because we already have, in certain cases, if there's rain involved, a game can end after 6 innings. So to say, well, 7 innings isn't a real game, well, when Mother Nature intervenes, we're fine with it only being 2/3 of a game and it being an official game. So it's far from ideal. It's not perfect, but we are living in a pandemic, Bob, and if that's the only way they get the games in, I'm better with that than no games at all.
Yeah, I agree, just because it is one of these years where at this point anything should happen to get a season in if that's how it takes. For example, now I think Philadelphia's going to have to play 57 games in 56 days, and who knows what the Marlins are going to be able to do. I want to ask you also about a baseball-related item that came out just yesterday, and that would be Joe Kelly, suspended for 8 games. I haven't talked to you since. I thought after he struck out Correa after throwing at it. I don't have a problem with throwing at guys. I do have a problem throwing at their heads and then making mockery of it. And I think because we're in a pandemic, the last thing the league wanted was to have all of a sudden a benches clearing situation with COVID spreading potentially everywhere. So I understood why he got suspended, but I didn't like 8 games. Did you?
No, I didn't like it because of the way Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred allowed for these Astros players to get away scot-free. They still have their rings. They still have the banner hanging there. And because of this immunity, come on. I mean, you go back on your word, Rob Manfred. I don't care. Once you found out the severity of the cheating, I would have thrown the book at these guys. And if you got to fight the players' union tooth and nail on it, so be it. It's clear to me that the majority of players feel like these Astros are cheaters and did want more discipline. So, I get 2 wrongs don't make a right, but I don't like the optics, Bob, of Kelly gets a huge suspension and these Astros guys are allowed to go about their business.
And that 8 games over 60 would translate to over 20, which is, you never see that kind of suspension in any sport, really. It would take a Donald Brashear type of act to have that happen. So we'll see, but I cannot think that this throwing at the Astros is going to curtail. I think you're going to see more of it. It may not be headhunting, but hey, it's part of what's going on right now. Now let's talk hockey real quick, Andrew, because we're just 2 days away from the start of the qualifying playoff best of 5. Pittsburgh, Montreal, right off the bat. The goaltending situation is still up in the air. I think he's just decided what he's going to do, and I think it's Murray, short leash. What would it take for Montreal to win this series? Give me a scenario.
Well, there are a few things, Bob. They could lull the Penguins to sleep. They play a very buttoned-up game. They're very disciplined. They've got a coach in Claude Julien who likes, to play a possession game. They're going to have the puck a lot, and they're going to try to win games, I think, 1-0 and 2-1. And we've seen those types of teams beat the Penguins, like the Islanders last year. They can't get frustrated. They have to, they got to let the game come to them a little bit here, Bob. You want to be aggressive, but you can't be aggressive to the point where you become careless and reckless. And we've seen the Penguins at times fall into that trap. And I'm really talking to Chris Letang and Evgeny Malkin when I say that, because they're great players. Malkin's one of the best of all time. Letang's probably the greatest Penguins defenseman ever. But we still see it, even in their 30s, Bob, where they are prone, when they don't like what's going on out there, sometimes they'll take matters into their own hands, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's good, bad Gino all at the same time. He thrives on emotion, but sometimes emotion gets him into trouble. Although I think he is going to be maybe the best player we see in this tournament, the way training
do you disagree with me? That's the Canadians' formula. They got to win games 2-1.
And Julien certainly knows how to do it because that's been his calling card, and he did it in Boston as well, even though the power play for the Penguins went to sleep in that series. But I think it's going to be interesting, and that first game is ultra important. I also think I'm looking for a guy like Patrick Marleau to have an outstanding series. This guy's motivated to win. He's done everything in his career but win a championship, and it reminds me of Raymond Bourque going to Colorado, Andrew.
Bob, I mean, they've got, with that top line in Montreal, they've got kind of a Bergeron player in Deneau. I mean, that to me, it's obviously not Sid and Gensel, but just at the top, that might be a good – Montreal has a good two-way top line.
Right.
From there, their depth is terrible. And so for the Penguins, you just mentioned Marleau, their fourth line, Malkin's line. They should feast here.
They should.
If the Crosby line is neutralized a little bit by Tatar, Gallagher, and Deneau, that means the rest of the Penguins at even strength have to pick up the slack, in my opinion.
And when the Penguins have won Stanley Cups in 2009, it was a third line. It was the Stahl line with Cook and Kennedy. What we saw from the HBK line when they won again, they need production, and a lot of that takes the pressure off the top two lines. We'll see how it goes. We're going to take your calls at 412-575-2600. Call us, air your opinions. We're back with those calls. We're right here live on another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're here 7 nights a week for you. We'll be right back.